You know, these days, a lot of stories and many cases of men raising children they thought was theirs, but only to later find out that it wasn't their own. This is what is now flying around in all the social media platforms. Today, this DNA test is fast punching a lot of holes in many relationships and marriages. You know, it's creating a lot of problems here and there. Tables are being turned upside down. A lot of hidden secrets are now released and many eyes are now opening. You know, and a lot of real identities are now uncovered. A lot of madams a lot of madams are now trembling. They are shaking because their marital doomsday is already here. In today's exciting and deep video titled Nigerian Men, There is Fire on the Mountain, Do Your Children's DNA Test Now, or that is the title of today's video. So we are going to find out why our officially married women, you know, why are they getting pregnant from other men outside their matrimonial homes? Why? In fact, some of the reasons will baffle you after this intro. Ogu Emmanuel is my name, and a special thanks to all my returning subscribers. Please, if you are new in this channel, you are highly welcomed. What is a DNA test? You know, in a layman's definition or language, the name DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid test. You know, it's a kind of lab test used for finding out the paternity. That is, if the man is the real owner of the child. That is what you use this test for. A lot of people has made or are about to make an elaborate arrangement as we speak now for a grand standing child dedication ceremony. Maybe soon enough now you will get your own invitation card to attend this particular child dedication ceremony. You know, so in the coming days or weeks, perhaps a month, you'll receive such invitation. But little did the man who is sharing these invitations knew that that very child he was about to dedicate before the altar of God was not even fathered by him. It's very appalling. So the child's pregnancy belonged to another man somewhere else. Let's talk about some of the reasons why that little boy or girl you are now carrying, you know, in anticipation, may not have been fathered by you. Good things say, nah, I carry my pikin, I carry my child. You don't know that you are carrying another person's bundle of joy. The first reason, poverty, or I call it greed. Yes. Do you know that due to your inability, you know, as a man, to meet up with your normal financial and other family responsibilities and obligations, it may trigger that lazy wife of yours who may, you know, she may create this idea of sleeping around with your randy landlord, you know, just to make paying your house rent easier or probably to save your face in the compound or in the neighborhood. There are some cases where some of these guy men pastors will also decide to support the house rent of a married woman, you know, just to have an inordinate closeness with the man's wife because of his feelings for the man's wife. He might decide to be contributing for the upkeep of the home. So you will not understand exactly what his target is. So sometimes, again, with a richer neighbor, or even with the woman's boss in the office, you know, so as to avoid embarrassment and gossip from their nosy neighbors, the lousy woman might decide to be sharing just to raise money, to run things in the home. So hence the husband could not be able to provide normally for the family. You know, any woman with this kind of tendency can bring into their matrimonial home a child or children fathered by someone else for her husband. The second reason is what I call prostitution inside marriage. I sincerely don't know what some of our women are turning themselves into of late. The social media space is ever busy with the ugly news of some of our women, you know, doing a lot of things. Today, a lot of our married women are now dragging young and small boys with some of these single or not married young ladies. Dragging those boys with them, married women. Could you imagine that? You know, they are even dragging it with the black market ladies. I mean, those ladies that are operating in the red light district. You're supposed to know where I'm talking about now. So they do drag men with them too. Today, ladies are seriously complaining about the menace of some married women, you know, interfering into their spaces. Some of these married women are not letting these young boys, or some of these married women are not letting these young ladies breathe. And they are not letting their men rest. Why? What is going on? Some of you, these married women, what is actually going on? Can't you put your ass together? So these women are the married ones who cannot keep that thing between their thighs closed for their husbands. And they cannot mind their own business. Why is it like that? Must it be so? So these are women who are using, some of them, they are using this, you see them wearing wedding rings, marriage and husband as a cover to sell themselves to the highest bidder. You know, they sell themselves to the highest bidder outside their matrimonial homes. They are prostituting under the umbrella of their husband or under their husband's nose. You know, so they do have one of their legs inside the house, while the other cursed leg is outside for other men to devour at ease. Just imagine, a married woman, or you know, so some of these, I don't know what to call them, with due respect, I don't know what to call them, because they have reduced their respect before the world. Some of these cursed women are using the status. If you ask them, they will tell, I'm a married woman, to fool themselves, you know, other people. They do mess up even under their husband's house too. They are not even ready to go for divorce if they are not comfortable with marrying that particular man. They will still stay there, causing more harm in the relationship and in the marriage. maybe so as to face their dirty agenda. But rather, they are enjoying, under the covering umbrella of, because they are calling them married woman now, they will be under that umbrella, to be selling themselves cheap just for a plate of porridge. You'll be wondering, is this not this man's wife? Why is she behaving this way? Why is she seen dressing like this or dressed like this? So this kind of compromise, madam, there is this possibility of having one or two of your children fathered from an outside flank. Yes, from an outside flank. So the third one is what I call fooling husbands. Sometimes some men are the masters of their own misfortunes, if you ask me. So some men will tell you point blank that their choice of women that they can manage for settling down will be as follows. That is the requirement they need before they can marry. That the lady must have a pointed nose. They talk about the color of the skin, that she must be shining like a star or gold. That she must be tall, well educated, rich, and must be very good in the other room. You know what I mean? So what about her character? Who cares? No compatibility check. What some of these men needed is only a presentable lady that will fit the front seats of their cars for display or mannequinning. You will see some of the men go ahead, pay the bride price of a lady without knowing next to nothing about this girl, just that they saw that the girl is presentable, that she is sparkling, that she looks good to take home for mama to see. They will just quickly rush and do everything, pay her bride price and do other marital rights and make the lady their wife. So he would only later find out that he married our wife, not his wife, because our wife is different from his wife. So our wife is the one we call a Givenchy. You didn't ask me now. The Igbos will call it a Yoromunjo. There are a set of women you call a Yoromunjo. You did not ask her now. If you had gathered courage to ask her, she wouldn't have refused to give you a hot pant. Someone who cannot keep a pair of her legs together for her husband. She gives her ties to any man who asks without, batting an eyelid. So such a charming and fancy woman will go out there one day only to come back home with a pregnancy fathered by another man, which will only be discovered maybe when it is already too late and regrettable. The fourth reason is the one I called one last tango or one for road. I have a reason for that. Could you please help me at this figure from what these new prints are telling us? What about this? Or even this? Please, were you able to make anything out of those sets of newspaper headlines? Anyway, let me not stretch you further. Do you know that a lot of world statistics on paternity fraud is not in our favor here in Nigeria? Do you know? Because they say that Nigeria is a place where you have one of the world highest paternity fraud. Jamaica is number 1, Nigeria number 2. So this abomination has been happening for so many years in most of our communities, and we kept silent. Thank God today the sound is audible enough to shout, shout for it to stop. People are shouting, people are talking about it because it's causing a lot of harms in our families, in our societies, in our communities. Do you know that some of these, especially these newly wedded young ladies, you normally see displaying their wedding pictures all over the social media spaces, went to their newly wedded husband's home with another man's fresh semen deposited in their body. They went to their husband with something that was placed inside their body. Sperm, if you call me. It is sperm. They went to their husband's home with another person's sperm inside their body. Somebody might ask, what is the heck is this guy talking about here? The person might not understand. So one of the reasons most firstborns in our families are not truly fathered by their fathers is that most of our girls they like to pretend a lot. They pretend as if they have never pooled before in their life. They never go toilet in their life before. Many of them, before they go settle down, in their married husband places, they normally loves to tango anyhow with their last boyfriend. So these ladies, before she finally goes back to the husband place, will invite his boyfriend to come use her anyhow for the last time. Now, last one. Atachanko onye na Ghana chedie. Apo okoye awe dom man vam. So they will invite this guy to come and organize them anyhow. So this last tango, or do I call it one for road, will give the young man an opportunity to lay her anyhow, use any styles on her just to create memories. So many a times cautions are thrown away. They don't care if condoms are used or not, and normally they don't use it because they want to make a point. So no condoms are used. So as many as number of pleasure runs as possible, you can have it, no problem, because I'm taking the rest to my husband. So the guy will just chop, the guy will just eat the thing anyhow. The guy will just handle the lady anyhow. So to cut everything short, because this tango normally takes place a day or two before she finally go back to her husband's place. So it's between just some hours before she will finally go settle down in her husband's place. So the guy will just come and do anyhow. So whatever quantity of do I call it crude oil deposited in this lady's ministry will be automatically transferred to her husband's family, whether the guy likes it or not. she'll just transfer the crude oil the boyfriend deposited inside her, transfer it to the husband. So finally, there is this tendency that the first deposited semen, that is the crude oil the guy deposited, there's this tendency that the boyfriend can easily, since his own was the one first deposited, it will fertilize before the husband's own. It's possible that the boy's own will fertilize before the husband's own. So depending on the timing. So before you know it, after a year or some good months, the innocent husband will start thanking God, start sharing child dedication invitation cards of a baby planted in his new family by his wife's boyfriend, thinking that it was his own. Brother, as it stands these days, ask questions. So make you ask questions. So please, for your own peace of mind and to avoid had I known, which always comes at last, go do a DNA test on your children and maybe thank me later. The fifth one is no pregnancy, no marriage. In some families, especially now in Igbo land, the man's mother will not even allow any marital rights or moves to take place until they are sure that the said lady is confirmed pregnant. So since they are playing God, since they want to be God, who blesses people with children, they would want to be sure they are not going to deal with an infertile case, or try to get a fellow man for their son. They don't want to get a fellow man for their son. I hope you understand what I mean. So before you know what is happening, if the young lady is desperate, to marry that man or to be a member of that family by fair or foul means, if she's really wanted to be part of the man's life, she wouldn't mind go sleep with any Dick, Tom or Harry, so as to have a pregnancy to present before the man's mother for approval, because that was the mother's requirement for endorsing or giving out a go-ahead order for the marital process to proceed. That is what the woman needed. So if proper care is not taken, this said lady will present a pregnancy to her. She present the pregnancy to her would-be husband. Let me put it that way. Who knew next to nothing about it, because it was what the family wanted. They needed a pregnancy. They needed a woman with a protruded tummy. So this is one of the ways another person's child could be made part of your own family too, because you lacked knowledge and patience. So you better go do your children's DNA test now, or you will live to regret it later. The sixth reason is what I call engagement ring paradox. Please do not be in a hurry, to forget that before you appeared and proposed to this lady, some guys has been investing. Some guys are there already. Some guys have been investing, farming, and harvesting in this particular lady's ministry. Before you lombard in, guys has been there, managing things, running things within, and all of a sudden you just lombard in. You have to think about that too. Please do take it easy. You are probably not the first. Let me tell you this. One of my cousins who was once at the university in Nigeria here, told me a story about a female friend of hers who was then seriously dating 4 men at the same time. She was dating 4 men at the same time. So these 4 men has already given her engagement rings at one time or the other. So she's in custody of 4 engagement rings from these guys. She accepted and collected them. So according to my cousin, what this girl does, or how she manages these 4 men whenever any one of them tries to visit her school, is to make sure she wears that particular man's own engagement ring, and will be patiently waiting for any one of them who will first show more seriousness by proposing to her for marriage. That was the only thing she needed. She doesn't care if somebody is being played at or not. So, and one funny thing is that any of these guys that visits, normally will come with a lot of gifts. Somebody who is visiting the fiancé, hoping that they are getting things for their fiancés, and for her to assure them of her acceptance and seriousness, she will sleep with them, thereby giving them false hope or false trail. This will continue until the most serious one amongst them decides to take the bull by the horn by taking her to the altar for marriage. So you don't need to be told about the effect of the sperms, the sperm contribution by this man, by this 4 men in the life of this lady. Guys, and I told, that is America, na told, about na ministry, about one can one, So in this way, someone else's child may be introduced to you as your own, in your own family, because you married someone who knows what will happen tomorrow. So the 7th reason is what I call infertile issues. Do you know that some men are already aware of their infertility status? They know that they are not fertile enough to father any child or create any offspring, but they will still go marry. Some of them would not even want to let their wives know about their fertility status. So since the man has introduced deception into the marriage, then as soon as the wife finds out about his status, there is this tendency, the wife might decide to make use of it. Maybe because of 1 or 2 things. Maybe the man is very rich or from a rich background or whatever. So the woman might decide to, instead of quitting the marriage, she will go get pregnant from outside of her matrimonial homes. Probably to cover up the man's shame or suspicion from nosy relatives, business colleagues, and people in the office, friends, neighbors, and so on and so forth. So in this case, both the man and the woman is aware about the game they were playing in their ministry. They know what they are doing. So you don't need to be told about what the DNA results of this kind of family will look like in the near future. So the number 8 80th one is what I call maternity negligence. Sometimes it can go like this. There was once a case of a child born whose DNA did not match neither the father nor the mother's own. So this created a lot of problems, concerning this particular case. An extensive research was carried out. They started digging to know what went wrong and how it managed to happen. So in the process, they found out that the child in question was swapped. Sharply, the child was swapped in the maternity delivery room, soon after the birth by a smart, criminally minded nurse. Someone paid the nurse to swap the child. Maybe because of the child, maybe is a boy or a girl. Somebody needed either this or the other one. So in this particular scenario, this child did not fall from the sky, which you know. So if it was not discovered in time, there is this possibility that this particular innocent child may be well raised out of the original owner's home. Yes. Okoye akpachapụ anya kwa akatiere ọkụkọ akị. So it is only a DNA test that can dictate the real paternity of the child. Yes, that's why you need to find out. Go check it now before something happens. So the ninth one is what is called crypto pregnancy. This is not cryptocurrency. So as the word implies, the word crypto means secret. Under this term, a lot of things do happen. Sometimes we see a desperate woman looking for the fruit of the womb anyhow. She doesn't care whose horse is God. She just wanted to carry belle by fair or foul means. So they do sometimes engage in the services of some of these illegal crypto maternity centers. I mean, if you don't understand, I mean some of these evil maternities that are working in collaboration with some of these child-making factories scattered everywhere in our country. You see, they are everywhere. If you did not bend down, you will not understand what is going on in some of those places. You might think sometimes that those places are a kind of big restaurant where they are selling something. You don't know that those young ladies you are seeing there are baby manufacturers. They are baby producers. There are places you will not even understand what is happening. So this group of people, the moment they can confirm a payment from you, then the woman will be asked to choose between, do you need a boy or a girl? Which one? Because if you want a boy, the price is different. A girl, the price is different. So they will assure you that you must get a child of your own as long as you are following their instructions. So the maternity people will inject some hormones into her to make her think that the work of the hormone will be to make her think that she is actually pregnant, because all the pregnancy signs will begin to manifest on her body. Yes, to begin to manifest on her body, as if she is really pregnant, but she is not. She'll be told to avoid anything like a scanning machine. Her antenatal consultations will only be taking place at these compromised illegal maternity centers. They will inform you about the delivery date of that child. On that day, she will be given a powerful knockout injection. They will insert some painful chemicals inside her inside her kiniko, so that when she wakes up, she'll be feeling pains down there, like somebody who just gave birth. So it will be part of what will make her to believe that she was the one that gave birth to that particular child. But it is not true. So she will wake up to see a baby. Some people will also be around her who will claim to have been the one that cut off the child's umbilical cord. They will claim. So before you know it, she will then go home thanking God for doing the impossibility in her life. So that is what desperation could do. And you will end up bringing another person's child into your family. The 10th and the last one is what I call ignorance. Ignorance have destroyed a lot of things more than it can repair. A lot of people have perished for lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge and proper education has made a lot of men believe that any child that resembles them must have been fathered by them. A lot of married women has used this, they have been using the brain of their husbands to prepare African salad. Haji brain okoye na agwa African salad. For the more, I'm not saying that it's all the women, but many of them are using their husband's brain to be preparing African salad. And now what brain udimpa? Anyhow. They don't even care. So she will always take the advantage of the man's ignorance, because she knew that the only thing the man knew is his means of livelihood. Chicken, finish. He doesn't know any other thing except that. So it became an advantage for this kind of women to be manipulating anyone around. So in the process, some of these compromised women are ever ready to throw their laps wide open for any willing guy, because she knew that her husband believes that any pregnancy that comes into his house automatically belongs to him.
Pictures of a woman that was brutally battered, like this woman was beaten up mercilessly, black. She had a black eye, 4 of her tooth were knocked off. She was completely battered. The picture of that woman made it to the internet and everybody went crazy. What is going on here? Is this another case of domestic violence? Hey, where is the husband? We are going to kill him today. Where is the police? The whole social media went crazy. Then the gist behind that battering came out. Now, as the story has it, this man based in Canada was married to a woman based in Nigeria. Okay, he went to Canada to hustle, to find a better life for his family. So as the story has it, the man frequents Nigeria every now and then to see his wife and children. They had 3 children, by the way. After observing this routine for some years, the man felt that, okay, it's time for me to move my family to Canada so we can have a decent and normal family life instead of me shuttling to Nigeria, Canada. So he started processing their papers. One of the requirements if you want to migrate with your family abroad is that you have to do a DNA test or run a paternity test on those children, for very good reason, because so many people can go pick up people from the village with the aim of enslaving them or engaging in human trafficking and claim that, okay, this is my child. So in order to checkmate people smuggling other people's children in and turning them to slaves or domestic staffs abroad, Canadian immigration law makes it mandatory for you to run a DNA test on the children that you claim to be your children before they will be allowed to move over to Canada. And this is where all hell was let loose. This is where the chosen hospital, where the Canadian embassy runs this DNA test. And when the results came out, when the results of the DNA came out, it was discovered that of all the 3 children, none of them were his own children. Hey, not even one. The 3 children were not his. Unfortunately for the woman, The man was in Nigeria when that discovery was made, and he lost his cool, pounced on the woman like a wolf, and beat her blue black, as in unrecognizably.
So, from the way things are going these days, I would rather suggest for every man to go for DNA test of their children, so as to be sure of the identity of whom you are paying that school fees for, that hospital bills for, and many other family expenses. Go and check it out. You know, please, as always, let me know in the comment section what you think about this video. Do not forget to like my YouTube channel. You know, do not forget to like my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Why not ring that notification bell so that you'll be one of those that will first receive our new videos whenever we release them. Please share these videos to all your friends, to your relatives, my brother, my sister. You might save lives. You might save ugly situations. You might open a lot of eyes. See you in my next video. Bye bye.